Teresa here again with part 3 for our 3rd page in whatever you're calling your design book. This is my scrapbook, and I'm going to keep this short, sweet and simple. It is textile work on a coffee bag, so this is the one we're going to concentrate on. And these are really nice for journalers, for your pages in a journal, and you can actually make these into tags or tuck spots or pockets. All you have to do is put it on a piece of card just to make it a little bit firmer. But there's numerous things that you can do with little pieces like this. You can join them together for something larger. Now, we're going to crack on with this immediately, but before then, I'm just going to run through the stitches and the technique I've used. I've backed the piece that I want to sew with a piece of fabric. Now, I did that because this tears. It's only like a thicker form of kitchen foil, aluminium foil, so that is inclined to tear. If you put your needle through or do some running stitches along there, it could rip. So that is the reason I put the fabric there, to strengthen it. Then I've added some net to strengthen it even a little bit more on the front. And then I've added some applique, that piece there, and underneath here. I can make that bigger. You might just see what's going on underneath. Oh, that's better, isn't it? So we have the applique there, and we also have some applique underneath here and around here, underneath there. And if you look very clearly, you can see a flower head there, and that's applique too. Now on top of that, I've then added the stitchery. Now the stitchery is all the stitches we've used. So there's no new shapes here, no new surprises. We have cross stitch, running stitch, feather stitch, and then they're repeated over here, and that is it. And some beads. Then we have this lovely big butterflies, sequins these are. And that is all there is to this. So I've taken this out of the bin, and it's a coffee bag for loose ground coffee. And because I didn't know I was going to use this, I've ripped it. I've not been very careful with it at all. I'll make this a little bit bigger. That's it. I need to do a few little repairs to strengthen the front. Now the first thing I will do is open this up very carefully, and I will have to lose the top and the bottom bits, but that's okay because this is quite a length. It's up to you what size you have yours. You could do it in a little tea bag pocket as well. I've already done several small ones, so I fancy doing something quite a bit larger actually. So just very, very carefully going to, this glue is meant to last. Right, so I'll get rid of those, and then I'm going to, no, I won't rip, and then I'm going to go down the back, round about the seam, because if you're doing this as a journal pocket or a bag, you might need to put this back together in order to put in your journal so it has a back. I have washed this actually. I washed this last night and left it to dry. Oh, that's tough. Now at the same time, I had this little mechanism here that needs to come off. All I'm going to do with that is cut that out. Just cut round that. There we go. Now I'm going to just sellotape this together. It's a bit on the weak side with all these snips and cuts and tears, so I'm just going to pop that over there. So that's that bit done. And here I'm going to add a little bit of masking tape. That means I'll be able to sew across it because it won't be sticky with the sellotape, and the masking tape isn't too thick, so the needle will go through there nicely. And there you can see that is nice and strong now. So like the example that I showed you a minute ago, I'm going to do this bit and leave the side. I want a piece of fabric this size for the back, just for this bit here to strengthen that. So I've been to my wonderful rag bag. I've taken out this piece, which is a bit too big, but I can trim that later. I would rather have it too big and then trim it later. Just take that off. So I want that there, and I'm going to put a few pins in there. And if you're going to use pins, as I am here, make sure they're quite fine pins, because a thick pin could make a hole and leave a weakness along where you're pinning. Right, now I'm pinning along the seam, only a couple, just to hold that in place. Now I'm going to turn that over, and here, to strengthen the front, I'm going to add some nets, just to strengthen that bit. Now I don't know whether I want a black effect there or a white. No, I'm going for the black actually. I think the black adds something. I still want some of that showing, I think. What I'm going to do is put the black down here and then work out how I'm going to decorate this. Now, if I move that up so I can save some of this, edge to edge there. So I'm going to pin down here, either end, one there and one there, like that. I think I might put one either side as well. Now at this moment I don't know how I'm going to decorate it. The example that I showed you has been done in a flower design, and I do like that. I do love working with flowers and flowery things. Right, I should just trim that off now. Get rid of that piece there. And I do love this needle. I use it for all sorts of things, not just sashiko. It's nice and long. It's 3 inches long, so that's 2, 4, 6, 7.5 centimetres long. It's got a lovely big eye for 6 strands that I'm using at the moment, and a nice point there. Now I'm just going to secure this black netting, some nice running stitches. So I'm going to do this all the way around the edge. Don't forget to knot, put a nice knot in your thread so you don't pull it out. This is lovely and strong. It's like a very strong fabric. So I'm going to carry on now all the way around here. And then just turn it over and just secure the thread. Over so just a couple of times. And that's that done. Take the pins out. Although I've been taking the pins out as I've gone round. And there we go. That is the first bit in place. I think I might now go off and sort out some bits of applique. I think I'm going to put some applique on there. It was the dark bit that's made me think I might like to do something a bit glitzy, maybe. That's almost my preferred style, isn't it, really? Bright and a bit glitzy. I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to rummage through the rag bag, and as soon as I've got some pieces, I'll come back and I'll show you what I've got. I've sorted some bits and pieces out now, and I found these little cutouts that I already had, and you might recall these. I put some of these on the front of the scrapbook that I'm using for this piece of work. So I'm going to place these. I have played around with a few of these, so I'm going to place these down. But before I do that, I've just found these on the desk, and I think I'm going to try and use these as well, and maybe some of this on the background. Now, I have an idea that I'd like that there. Then I have this, which is almost that colour, and this, I bought these recently, I haven't used them yet. I might just put these along the background here. Let me turn that round so you get an idea of how it will look up the right way. Maybe put those down there. Let me just cut that. I definitely like that one. And I have some satin here as well. This is new as well, so well, I need that in the background. On there. I don't know. I really don't know. But I'll cut that anyway. Right, so now I might take these off if they don't look too good. I'm going to arrange these. Let's have a look up there. Just arrange these into a pleasing design. I want them going right the way up, as if they're growing up. It could look a little bit like that with net over it. Oh, actually that doesn't look too bad. I'm still not sure about this. Oh, I don't know about this piece here. See if I can just take that out and see what it looks like with the toe. Yeah, it might look better just with the toe. Anyway, I'm going to carry on and just play around. I can't decide whether I want two pieces there or the three, and as soon as I've decided on that, I'll get to a stage where it'll be time to start sewing. Okay, so I'll get back to you very shortly. I found another flower here, and I've just popped it underneath the net. Now, because I'm working on this rather fine packaging paper, I can't use too many pins on it, so I'm not going to tack it into place. I've just put in another 4 needles, but what's keeping it in place is the net, the white net put over here, over the top, and it's keeping the flowers in place. If I hold that up, you might be able to just see the white net. I don't think you can, but it is there. It's definitely there. I'm now going to do some long stitch, which is just long running stitch, to hold it all in place. So just like running stitch, tacking stitch, slow stitch, whatever you'd like to call it, I'm coming in from the back, and I'm just going to work rows of stitches to cover up all the flowers. Let me make this bigger, and I don't think you're going to be able to see it because the colour of the thread that I'm using is the same colour as this background ribbon, but I'll just start off on the camera, in and out, and then gently pull the needle through. There we go. So that's the first few stitches. You can see them on the back here. Now I'm going to carry on like this, as I said, until I cover all this up and it's secured to the background. So if you look really closely, you'll be able to see the stitches here right the way across, or sorry, lengthwise down the work. Now what I've decided to do is inject a darker colour, and I'm still going to use the running stitch, and I'm going to outline each leaf with dark green in a small running stitch, just to give it a little bit more of definition, I think. So all I'm going to do, all I should do is just go round each leaf on the inside, not the outside, just like this. Small running stitch, and then I should take it from there. But I will do all the leaves, and it will help them to lay down nicely as well. But actually just doing the stitches right the way across, it's really secured the back. So there are 2 leaves finished with the green. I'm not sure if the leaves are actually finished inside, whether they might need some veins or something else, but we'll see. So what I'll do now, I'll just go to carry on and do this outlining on each of the leaves. So it's quite a job, but I don't expect actually that's going to take too long. I'm just going to give you a quick update before I carry on. The green stitching, the running stitch is all finished now. I've used twisted chain stitch for the darker thread that you can see running through it for the stems and some of the veins on the leaves, and I've used whipped running stitch around the leaves. Now I'm just starting this at the bottom here. So far I've only done 2 leaves here. On the outside I've done a running stitch, and then I've just gone back on myself and whipped it. So the whipping stitch is just in and out into the running stitches. After I finish doing the whipped running stitch around all the leaves, I'll then turn my attention to these yellow flowers. Okay, and as soon as I start on these, I'll get back to you and show you how far along I am. Well, I think I've finished the actual sewing now. I've run a feather stitch all the way around here, just to carry the eye right the way from the top to the bottom. Around the petals I've done a pinwheel, and each petal is in a segment of the pinwheel. Finished off the whipped running stitch all the way around the leaves, and I think that is it. Now my next step is to just dot the centres here of the flowers with French knot. Now I've decided to use wool because the texture at the moment is very samey. It's very flat and it's the same throughout. So I'm going to inject a little bit of texture now with the French knot. So as usual, all I'm going to do is pull the thread of the needle through the back, and I have a nice knot there, and it's a bit difficult to pull that through, but it's through there now. And all I'm going to do now is just twist the needle around the thread and then take it back, and trying to avoid the knot so I don't have to go through that thick knot. And that is the first French knot. Okay, and there we have the 4 French knots finished. Now I'm going to add a few beads along the feather stitch here. I'll turn that round and make it just a bit smaller for the moment so you can see how it's looking right way up. So I'm quite pleased with that effect, and the French knots now give it some texture. Now with the beads, I've had to change to a beading needle. Now I find these very, very difficult to thread, so I do use a threader, and if you're like me and your eyesight isn't what it was, then you might benefit from one of these needle threaders. They are really good. While I was doing this, I was thinking of when I first started teaching. I used to do teach on evening classes after my day job, shall we say, and used to teach a lot of ladies a lot older than me. I would have been in my 30s probably by then, and I teach them textile arts and lots of beading. We did a lot of bead weaving at that time, and these ladies used to say to me, oh, you know, can you thread my needle, and you've got wonderful eyesight and all this. And now I had to smile. I'm thinking, I am now older than most of those ladies in those art classes, and I need someone now to thread my needle. How sad is that? But I used to say, oh, if only I could have £1 for every needle that I've threaded over the years, I would be so wealthy. But now I've got to use a needle threader. But never mind, never mind. Small price to pay, I think. Right, so I have made a start here. Once again, I'm making this bigger. Now the beading needles are very, very fine. I don't actually like using them. This one is bent as well. They're just probably finer than this pin. This dressmaker's pin or quilter's pin. They're finer than that to go through, obviously, the beads, the hole in the various size beads. Now these beads have got quite a nice large hole, but a regular sewing needle just won't go through them. So I'm just picking up each bead individually this time. I'm not stringing them and then beading with them. I'm picking them up individually so that I get each little leg through that one now, up there, just through, and I'm just picking up another bead here, a little bead, and just back. Doesn't have to be back in the same hole. You can go at the side. And if you can see that, it's taking shape already. So one more, and then I'll carry on. As a finishing touch to the flowers, I've put some beads just around the French knots, round here. And the amount of beads depends on the size of the knot. So this one has about 8 on there. That one I think has about 11 beads. This one maybe 10. I know they've all got different amounts. Now I'll show you how I've done this. I brought the needle with the nice strong knot through the back, and I've secured it. I've over sewn it in just a couple of times to make sure that isn't going to pull through or break. And I've threaded, I think I might have about 10 or 11 beads on here, enough to go around the knot. Let me make this bigger. Right, just enough on there to go around the knot. So I'm just going to lay it down on the table and just take it round, and so it meets. And there we go. There's enough beads there. Now while it's like that, I'm going to take the needle back to the start and bring it through. I should try and keep this still. Okay, now I've pulled the needle through to the back. Now with my thumb, I'm just pressing the beads in shape around the knot, and now I'm going across opposite the join, where the beads join there, and I'm just going to put a little stitch there to hold that in place to make it easier to work with. So that is now held down, and I'm now going to do the same all the way around, probably not every bead, just all the way around to hold it in place. Just going to oversew that a couple of times to lock that, and then take it through to the back and finish it off. Just tie that off. There. And it's as simple as that to put the beads on. Right, now I think I still have a few finishing details. I need to finish the crosses off here, and I need to finish this. Now with this, I think at this moment I'm just going to outline that in some running stitch. I might put a bead in the centre, something in the centre. So that is just a tiny job now, just to do the running stitch around the edge. And here, I'm not sure what I'll do on the crosses, but I'll do all that off camera, and it's not going to take more than a few minutes. And then I think the front will probably be finished. I finished the crosses off with just a strip of sequin effect. They're not actually sequins, but this is the effect, the dustbin lids, as I like to call them. So I finished it off here, and I just managed to pull a little row of those little sequin things underneath the crosses here. So it's just giving it a little bit of lift, a little bit of life in that corner. Now down here, I'm going to do the running stitch in wool, the same wool as I did the French knots. Now this is to marry the colour and the texture with the French knot. So I'm just going to go all the way around the edge here with the stitches, starting there, and it's quite a nice contrast actually, the very light pink of the flower and the deeper pink of the wool. Right, so that's done, but what I'm going to do now is just whip it all the way round so it has the same sort of rustic effect as the rest of this. I like this effect because it looks as if it's been hand drawn in some places. So I'm just going in and out over all the running stitches. So here we are, finished. I think there's still something missing, and I think that is a single bead. So I'm going to put a single bead through the centre, just lock the thread, make sure that isn't going to come undone. Lovely. And I have some really nice green beads here. Not too big, not too small, but bigger than the glass beads that I've used. I'm just going to put that in place with 2 little stitches through the centre and through to the back. Right, so there we go with the bead. Oh, not sure whether that's finished actually.
But anyway,
the next thing to do is to trim the edges here, and all I'm going to do is just run the scissors down there, trim off those without cutting or snipping any stitches on the front. So that's that side, and then I'll do the same here. There isn't that much to trim off really. I've got a leaf protruding there, so I'm just going to go around that. There, so that's that done. Oh, maybe not, that hasn't cut. Lovely, so that is now that done. This bit here looks a bit tatty, but that will actually be lost in the fold, but I will take it back a little bit more. That's that's nicely trimmed. Now what I'm going to do on this side, I'm going to trim this as well, do exactly the same and run it down the edge like that. Smashing. Make sure there aren't any really long pieces. I'm going to cover up the back, so when you put anything in your bag, you're not going to catch on the ends here. If I didn't put the net on or cover that up with something, and I put my pieces in, my pieces of card or whatever I wanted to go in here, I'm likely to get caught on some of these loose ends here. I'm just going to match that size for size, so that needs to be trimmed here. And I'm actually going to glue this in place, because at this stage I don't want to make too many holes in it now, too many stitching holes on the front. And the thing is, by using the glue stick as well on the back, you're actually now helping the stitches to lock, helping all these loose ends to stick down so they won't lift up. So there, that's on there. Lovely. And this doesn't take very long to dry, but you do get a few minutes just to move it around. Right, that won't stick to that. There. So if you get something shiny, a tin or something else, and just more or less iron it down. So on the top side, I'm going to bind it. Now it's really up to you how you treat your end bit. This is for junk journal, so it's made with junk. This was junk from the bin. These are all remnants, the pieces here, and this was from a project a long time ago. In fact, this is now vintage and it's junk. I have to be selective about what side I use because it is marked, but it's junk. So I'm going to put this along here. Now I'm going to machine sew this with quite a large stitch to catch it. Now I have options here. I could do it at the same time, do two together and fold it out, or I could actually seam it properly, and so I could sew it that way and then turn that in and hem it. Now because it is for a junk journal, I don't know if I need to go to be that precise. So I'm going to jump in with 2 feet and I'm doing this together. It feels a bit strange doing this together actually, it doesn't feel right, but in keeping with the nature of the journal or the sketchbook or whatever you call your design, your art design book, your textile art book. And don't forget, these are experiments, so you can do whatever you like because you're actually experimenting. This might not work, but then if it doesn't work, I know not to do it again. So whichever way I look at it, it's going to be successful in informing my judgment next time. So I'm going to machine along there. This is quite nerve-wracking. Let's see what happens. Right, now I don't think that was a great success, to be honest. The machine kept stopping and starting. It didn't like the texture of the silver foil. So if you're going to use your machine, do make sure that you have the fabric on your feed dog and not, as I started off with that, with the foil on your feed dog, because it just doesn't work. But that is what I've got here. Oh, So that is how it's looking. We need to close up the back, find the folds, the natural folds of the coffee bag. So luckily mine is still there. Just run your fingers along them if you need to. So that is one fold across the back. Right, I'm going to just pop a couple of pins in there. That's one there, just to hold that down, and one here, one there. Now just so I can do this as well, so I'm going to fold that as well, find the natural folds to there and there, and now we're going to glue this, but not all the way up. So be careful with the glue you use, because if your fabric is nylon based or plastic based, it could melt, okay? So you don't want to go to the trouble of doing some beautiful work and then finding that the glue you used to mount your work or whatever, it burns a hole in it. Now with the Pritt stick or the glue stick, I'm just going to run it halfway. Let me move that there. Halfway down there. Halfway down the side, and then I'm bringing it over to match the join here. Open it out flat here. And you can see the lined paper in there, making sure that I don't stick the back to the front. That will come out soon. So that is now how the front's looking. It's going to give it a little time to set. Now I don't want glue along here, because this is going to make the opening bigger. If we put the glue along there, it's going to restrict the opening when that is secured onto your page in your sketchbook. So that needs to be kept open like that. I'm just going to pop a little bit of fabric there, a little bit of spare fabric there. Lovely. And I'm now going to pull out that served its purpose. That was to stop the back and the front being glued together. Now the next thing to do is to put a little bit of binding along here, and this time, because we won't want this end opening oh dear, excuse me, we're going to just pop this across here. Okay, so we only need a little bit. It's going to go across here through all these layers now, and I'll do exactly the same. I'll machine sew that, pin in there just to hold that in place. Oh, it's quite thick now. Right, that's lovely. So that'll hold it in place while I pin this. Right, now how should I do this? I could do it that way, or I could do it as I did it there. I think I'll do it as I did it there. I don't want to take too much of that, so I need to stick to the edge. And I want to take those, I'm going to extend these over the end by about 1/2 inch, and that is so I can turn them back. You don't have to do it this way. As I say, it is a junk journal. It is for a junk journal, so you can get away with all sorts of shortcuts. Right, I've got 2 pins to secure that there. Oh, I think I've hit a bead there. And I'm just going to take it here, so I now have that secured on the bottom, extended by about 1/2 inch. So I'm now going to machine sew that. Hopefully the machine will take that. So this is how it's looking now. It's been machine sewn, you can see along there, and it was a lot easier to do it than it through all those layers than it was to do it up here. So So that one, that has now been done. Now what I'm going to do, just to tidy it up, bearing in mind this won't be seen on the back, won't be seen at all, so I'm not going to any great trouble, but I do want to just tidy it up. You could even glue that back if you like, but I'm going to just over sew mine. As you probably remember, the over sewing is literally as it sounds, over sewing from one edge to the other. I'm not going to do a demonstration of that because we've done it several times now, so I think you probably all know what over sewing is, okay? But hey, look, that's looking really good, isn't it? I like the look of that. But I'm going off now to finish it, so next time you see this it will be finished. And here it is finished. I've added a row of sequins here and a little bit of ribbon there because it looked a bit plain either end. I can't make up my mind about this here, and I might actually take that off at a later date. At the moment it's taking the plainness away from the top. I did try another row of the lilac sequins along there, but it really did look too much. But I think it might have looked a little bit less than this ribbon. Not sure about the ribbon. Anyway, I'm going to make this bigger so you can see some of the detail. Nothing else changed, so the main body remains the same. On the back I have put a little bit of masking tape along here just to give it a little bit more security, and you can see there it opens up to its full size. So the next thing to do is to put it into the scrapbook. Now the scrapbook where this idea came from is too big. It's too big now. It was hard fitting it under here, under the camera. So what I've done, I've gone back to another scrapbook where I knew that there were a couple of spaces, and you've all seen this one before, or the regular viewers have seen this before. I need to pop it on its side to get it in. So this is the one of the earlier ones, but the funny thing is I remember it having spaces, but I didn't remember it having the flowers here. These are the flowers that I've used on here. I cut these out into little motifs and put them on here, but I didn't realise that, so that just seems to be a good match. So as I said, I do know there are places in here. Now I don't know the best way to... I'll flick through, see if I can make this just a little bit smaller, so if you can just bear with me for a minute. Right, I think that might be it. So I'll bring it over here. Right, now I'm only going to flip through because you've seen this before. Now I like this page here. I thought that might go on there at the side of the sweet pea. Nice picture there of sweet pea. I thought that might go on there. Yeah, not only that, I was looking at the page, but this page opposite reflects the shape of the flower here on that piece of weaving. You see the weaving there, the head, flower head there reflects that shape there. Oh yeah, I like that. Right, now I do know there's a couple more pages, but I do like that one. I'm not going to stop at any of these unless I think... Right, the other one was this. Now I did intend to keep this just plain with that little bit of patchwork there, but it's the colours now on this. All the colours here seem to blend with this. Now how would that look? Yeah, I like that one as well. I do like that one. There's that. No. And this one. This is my daughter's, like my granddaughter I should say, hands in my sketchbook. A little bit of painting she did there. When she was 2 years, and they're her little hands. So I don't want to go over the little hands. At some time I might want to use those, but I wonder if No, that's out of keeping, isn't it? No, that's out of keeping. So I think at the moment it's between that one. Now, do I want to go over this? Do I want to use that as a background? No. Right, let's go back to, I think it could be this one. Oh, help someone, help. Yeah, I'm going to pop it there. I think, yeah, yes, let's get that popped down. Now, I'm going to use double-sided sellotape. And all I'm going to do is put it along the edges here. This one's actually padded. So I've got one there, one piece there. I think I'll probably get four lines in there, one there and one there, and then what have I done there? Right, and then one here, but I don't want to put it too close to the folds, these folds here, because otherwise it won't open. So I'm just going to take this off, take the backing off. Gosh, that was quite easy. 2, 3. Yes, my scrapbooks now are quite full, so it's time now for me to start another one. But I probably won't do that with you all. I might do the short projects. A bit indecisive today. And there we are. That's now been attached with just 4 strips of the double-sided sellotape. And if you can see that, it opens up lovely to its full-size coffee bag. Let's just pop some things in. We'll put the masking tape in there, and we'll put 2 reels of masking tape in there. So there we are. That's all done and dusted now. And I hope you like that, and I hope you can see how you can use it in your sketchbook or your journal or anything else, your experimental workbook, whatever you do. I hope you see how you can do that. And it's so quick and easy. You could do this in an evening in front of the TV. Okay? I think I might take that off. That is driving me insane already. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Please have a go, and if you do, pop it up on Facebook. It's always nice for us all to see each other's work, and there's some wonderful things going on up there. I think I said a big hello to the subscribers. There's been a couple more since I started this, so big hello to you too. And if you can like it, whatever that means, or what was the saying? It helps me out. I think that was the saying on the last video I picked up from somewhere. Could you please like it, because it helps me out. And I still haven't found out why it helps me out. But anyway, the more great projects on the way. If you've got any ideas, please pop them down there in the comments or on Facebook. Okay, so snip that off. So I will speak to you soon. Please take care. All keep safe out there. Alright, and wherever you are in the world, just take care and look after yourselves. Alright then, I'll speak to you soon. Bye.